What's going on, guys? This is another episode here in Nolan's pod. The other day I told you that the MLB playoffs was coming, Major League Baseball playoffs was coming. It was here. It's upon us. We're gonna be talking about it, and here we are. Um, the playoffs started officially yesterday, which was Tuesday, coming into Wednesday morning. Um, the other day I told you guys about coming into these series with Detroit and the Astros. I said that Detroit, they're an inexperienced playoff team. They've never played in the playoffs before, as this roster currently stands against an experienced Houston Astros team who's been there numerous of times, who's done that. I told you guys that I thought that the Astros were the favorite. I still believe that the Astros are the favorite. The Astros did not win game one. They lost game one at home. Detroit came into Houston and beat them at home. I was surprised, but Detroit, they really came out and they attacked Framber Valdez, Houston Nationals starting pitcher. They attacked him early and often. They were able to get some good swings off of him. Coming into this game for Houston, the Astros had not lost a postseason opener since 2001. That's 23 years ago. That's the year I was born. That is crazy. The Astros had not lost a postseason opener in 23 years. That is crazy, since 2001. That is absolutely absurd. Well, something was gonna have to change with that eventually, and it changed yesterday. And Detroit, they shocked us by getting into the playoffs, and then they shocked us again by stealing game one. I still think that the upper hand is with Houston because of the Houston Astros experience. And you could say another reason why Houston lost is they didn't have many opportunities. When they did have opportunity at the end of the game, they didn't capitalize on it. But they didn't have many opportunities because Detroit had their ace on the mound, Tarek Skubal. He's been an ace all year long. That continued into game one. His first ever postseason start. He pitched like an ace, and he was able to keep that tough Houston Astros lineup at bay. And you have to give Detroit credit for coming into this game feeling confident. There's no pressure on Detroit. There's really no pressure on Detroit. The pressure is on the Houston Astros because we know what the Houston Astros are capable of. We know what they're supposed to be doing. They know what they need to be doing. And they just didn't do it yesterday. That's all. But, you come back today, it's a whole new day. You try to get a game, which is going to be game two today, later on today. And then you see what happens from there. But like I said, you have to give Detroit credit for coming out, executing, playing with heart, and they don't have no pressure on them. They just playing freely. They don't have no pressure on them. One thing about it, their manager is A.J. Hinch. A.J. Hinch was the manager of Houston when they won the first World Series, during the cheating scandal. So he knows what it's like to play in Houston and to play a tough Houston team, and he had his guys well prepared and ready to go in and challenge them and play them, and they did it. So you have to give credit to A.J. Hinch too for getting his guys ready for this game in a semi-hostile environment. It didn't look like that game was sold out because it was an afternoon game. It's during the week, people at work, all that stuff. So a semi environment. I will tell you guys that I think that I want Detroit to win. Obviously, do I think they're going to win the series? No, I told you guys that the other day. But I want Detroit to win because my hatred for the Astros is none to the other. Oh my goodness, I have a deep hatred for the Astros ever since they cheated. I have a deep hatred for the Astros. I don't like them. One thing about the Astros, you didn't have to cheat. You didn't have to cheat to win a World Series where you already had a good team. If you're a team that's like the Oakland A's and you're bad and you're cheating, then I understand. But you had a good team like the Astros in 2017. Y'all didn't have to cheat. There's no reason for y'all to do that. Y'all were a good team anyway. No reason to cheat. Before I get too deep into that, we moved on from that. We moved on, or at least trying to. the stats from this game. Jake Rogers, Detroit catcher, singles. That scores Trey Sweeney, and it's 1-0 Detroit. Trey Sweeney singles. He scores Austin Meadows. It's 2-0 Detroit. Matt Vierling singles. He scores Jake Rogers. It's 3-0 Detroit. Early on in this game, so as I mentioned to you guys, they attacked Framber Valdez early and often, and they got good swings off him, and they stayed short and sweet. They stayed short. They shortened up, took a swing, not trying to do too much, just hit the ball. Ain't trying to hit the ball out the ballpark, just hit the ball. Stay short. They shorten up on their swing, and that's all they need to do. Framber Valdez did not have a Framber Valdez type game, and in Detroit, to their credit, they took full advantage of it. Framber Valdez only went 4.1 innings pitched. He allowed 7 hits, 3 runs. Was scored off him. He had 2 walks. He had 3 strikeouts. Obviously, Detroit was able to elevate his pitch count also. In the bottom of the 9th inning, the Houston Astros, I should say, had a chance with the bases loaded in the 9th inning. Jason Hayward came up, and he lined out with 2 outs to Spencer Torkelson at first base. When I originally saw, I thought the ball had got through and 2 runs were scoring. No, Spencer Torkelson caught the ball. Game over. So that's Jason Hayward's reward for hitting the ball well and hitting the ball hard to line out to the first baseman and game over. So, like I said, you got to give Detroit credit. Even going into game 2 later on today, the pressure is not on Detroit again. It's on the Houston Astros to hit him with it. Hit the Detroit Tigers back with it. It's up to them to hit them with it. What y'all gonna do about it? They came into y'all house and they stole game 1 for y'all and they shocked the world again. What y'all gonna do about it? How y'all gonna respond? We gonna find that out today. The next game that was yesterday was the Kansas City Royals going against the Baltimore Orioles. Just kind of like the Detroit-Houston series. I told you guys the other day that Baltimore's a favorite, as they should be. I told you guys that this is an inexperienced Kansas City Royals team with no playoff experience, just like Detroit. That is true. That's facts. I gave you guys facts on that. That is true. That was true. Obviously, I'm an idiot and don't know anything because Kansas City, no pressure on them. They weren't supposed to be here. Just like Detroit wasn't supposed to be in the playoffs. Kansas City wasn't supposed to be here. They got in. They played well this season. They surprised a lot of people. They surprised us and shocked the world in game 1. They won game 1, 1-0. Now, in today's MLB, 1-0. You're probably more than likely not going to win because the other team is going to eventually score. Baltimore can never crack through. They could never get themselves over the hump. And it's concerning for Baltimore because it's like you were a good team last year. You lost against Texas. And how you lost against Texas is kind of how you lost to Kansas City yesterday. Couldn't put anything together. Couldn't score a run. Struggled to get hit. Just couldn't get anything going. And it was a nervous energy within the crowd when they weren't getting anything going. The one positive that Baltimore has going into game 2 is they pitched well game 1. And, if they could have just got at least 1 run, that would have tied the game. That would have made a big difference. But they couldn't, as an offense, they just couldn't, You got to give credit to Cole Reagans. He just shut Baltimore's offense down. So you got to give credit to Cole Reagans for shutting them down, first and foremost. You obviously feel bad for Baltimore's ace Corbin Burns because he went 8 innings strong. You obviously feel bad for Corbin Burns because he allowed just 1 walk, and we know that these walks hurt teams. It will come back and bite you in the butt in the worst way. And all Corbin Burns did was allow 1 walk. That 1 walk was to Maikel Garcia in the 6th inning. He's still second. You have Michael Massey. He comes up. He grounds out. And that advances Maikel Garcia to 3rd. Bobby Witt Jr. comes up with less than 1 out. He singles. And it's 1-0. That's the game right there. So that one walk by Corbin Burnes ended up hurting because Michael Garcia used his speed to steal second base. Michael Massey grounds out. He advances Michael Garcia to third. Bobby Witt Jr. easy single. 1-0. That was your game. That one walk hurts. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you have a guy that's speedy, that creates havoc on the base pass by his legs. But even though Corbin Burnes got that one walk, it's not Corbin Burnes' fault at all. Your offense has to score. Your offense has to score. Your offense has to be able to put up some runs for you. You had your ace on the mound. He only allowed one run, and you couldn't get nothing across the board for him. That's just like the Braves, as I will get into that later on. You have to be able to score. You have to be able to score to win the game. Kansas City, they just got one. They struggled offensively too because Corbin Burnes was so good. But they got that one, and that was just enough. How these two teams approach it today, you're probably going to need offense. If you're Baltimore side, you're panicked because if you don't get the offense, you're going to remain at home, and it's not going to be to play another game. It's going to be your season's going to be over with. So, Cole Reagans mowed down Baltimore's lineup. He pitched 6 great innings, 4 hits, 8 strikeouts. The one concern I have for Cole Reagans is I was like, why did they take him out? And I think he had hamstring tightness, cramp. I think they said it was somewhere. He had a cramp, and that's why he went out. But give credit to Chris Bubic, Sam Long, and Mr. Lucas for coming in and pitching out of the bullpen. They used 3 pitchers out of the bullpen. They're lefties. Give them credit. They came out of the bullpen, and they held the Baltimore Orioles to 0. You got to give those guys credit out of the bullpen, too. Those 3 guys that came out of the bullpen after Cole Reagans had to come out of the game. But Cole Reagans still gave you 6 great innings. Corbin Burnes on Baltimore side, 8 innings, 5 hits allowed, 1 run. That one walk, obviously, as I mentioned to you guys, it hurt him. He struck out 3 guys. He pitched 8 innings. You can't ask for nothing more than that right there. Baltimore, coming into game 2 today, y'all have to be able to score runs. Y'all pitched great game 1, just allowed 1 run, but y'all have to score runs. Baltimore, y'all did it by hitting the long ball this year. Yesterday, y'all didn't get the long ball. So maybe today, if y'all don't get the long ball, try to play small ball, which these teams don't at all. This day and age, they don't play small ball. These teams don't even really know what small ball is. Obviously, we've seen bunting come back into play more this year than we probably have since they came out with the DH for the National League in 2020. Transitioning, that Braves and Padres game. Obviously, if you're a Braves fan, like I am, diehard, you know that we had the crazy circumstances of playing a doubleheader yesterday and then flying out all the way to the West Coast to play a wild card game. It wouldn't be the 2024 Braves if I didn't mention that Chris Sale was supposed to go game 2 Monday against Chris Sale was supposed to go Monday game 2 against the Mets. He has back spasms, so he's not able to go. He's left off the wild card roster because he's still not going to be able to go. Would it be the 2024 Braves if it wasn't an injury that occurred at the worst possible time? That's what this was. Max Fried pitched Friday night. He's going to pitch today, which is Wednesday. That's 5 days rest. Reynaldo Lopez pitched Saturday, and he pitched out of the bullpen on Monday, so he was a no-go. You don't want Charlie Morton going. He pitched Sunday. So we didn't really have the options that we wanted to. It was Ian Anderson or H.A. Smith-Shawver for AAA. Obviously, we went with H.A. Smith-Shawver. We didn't know what he's going to give us. We kind of knew that he probably would kind of struggle a little bit, as he did. He gave a single to Luis Arias to start off. Luis Ariz, he's gonna work the count. He gotta had it. I can't talk. Luis Ariz, he's gonna work the count. He was able to work a full count. He singled the other way. Next thing you know, Fernando Tatis Jr. comes up next, and he hits a 2-run, no doubt home run. Is 2-0. And as a Braves fan, you're like, oh crap, here we go. That got the crowd going at Petco Park. They were alive. They were loud. They were rowdy. It was true home field advantage for the San Diego Padres. As I mentioned, I watched the Houston game. They didn't have anything to cheer about. The Baltimore's crowd didn't have anything to cheer about. The Brewers crowd had something to cheer about. It was momentarily because they ended up losing to the New York Mets. And then the San Diego Padres, they had a lot to cheer about because they got out the gates early. Going to the second inning, Jake Cronenworth gets hit by a pitch. Donovan Solano comes up and he hits a single to right. It's 1st and 3rd. Kyle Higashioka hits a sacrifice fly. Jake Cronenworth scores. It's 3-0. San Diego. At that point, Snit comes out and he takes out H.A. Smith-Shawver, who only lasted 1 inning. He allowed 3 runs to score. He gave up 4 hits and he only had 1 strikeout. We knew that it was going to be rough for H.A. Smith-Shawver. We knew that. He's still virtually a rookie. He only made 1 start this year. And then he got hurt. So we knew it was going to be an uphill battle. We also knew it was going to be an uphill battle because we just played a doubleheader Monday. And then we're playing another game, flying out to the West Coast. So we just played, 3 games in 24 hours. That's unprecedented. A lot of that I blame on MLB because we knew that hurricane was coming ahead of time. And nobody is making that an excuse. Nobody is making the hurricane an excuse. But y'all knew ahead of time that hurricane was coming. And that following Monday, the Mets and the Braves both had an off day. You could have got a game in that Monday and then played that second game that Tuesday as you did. And then the Wednesday, Thursday, the postponements of the weather, we would have had 2 games in. Then we only would have had to play that 1 game. Possibly that 1 game might not would have mattered. Who knows? So MLB is a lot to blame for that. And while we're in the situation that we're in, obviously we cannot make excuses. And that's not what we're going to do here. We're not going to make an excuse about that. Obviously, even though we should make one for playing 3 games in 24 hours. Thanks, MLB. Y'all did it again. And then in the 8th inning, Kyle Higashioka hits a home run off of Luke Jackson. 4-0 Padres. It was the Padres' night, man. It was the Padres' night. All they needed was that little 2-run homer, then that little sacrifice fly, 3-0. Michael King was on the mound for San Diego. He pitched great. He went 7 innings. He allowed 5 hits. He struck out 12 Braves. He pitched 7 innings. Then Jason Adams and Robert Suarez comes out of the bullpen, and they just shut the door down. Michael King did his thing. He really did do his thing. You have to give him credit. I think in total the Braves struck out 15 times. And then you got that great San Diego Padres bullpen. It was an uphill battle for us all night. We know that. We knew coming in it was an uphill battle. After H.A. Smith-Shawver went out, Aaron Bummer pitched 2 innings. He did a phenomenal job. Jesse Chavez pitched 2 innings. He did a phenomenal job. Luke Jackson pitched 2 innings. He did a phenomenal job besides giving up that solo homer to Kyle Higashioka. I feel great about our chances today because we had Max Fried going today, and left-handed pitching gives the San Diego Padres lineup fits. So I feel pretty good about our chances. Max Fried, his last start on Friday night, possibly his last regular season start as an Atlanta Brave. As you know, Max is a free agent at the end of the year. He went 8 innings strong, and he went into the 9th inning, gave up a hit, got taken out. He faced Kansas City that night. I feel pretty good about Max Fried tonight. I really do. Our season's on the line, and usually when it's a big game for us and Max Fried pitching, he always comes out on top. So I'm confident that Max is going to get it done tonight. We need to score. As I mentioned earlier, just like Baltimore, we need to score. Whoever we had going out on the mound, the media tried to do that with Snit last night. And Snit, he made it very clear that it didn't matter who we had going out on the mound. If you don't score, you're not going to win the game. If you don't score, you're not going to win a baseball game. You have to score. Just like in football, just like in basketball, just like in hockey, just like in volleyball, just like in lacrosse. If you don't score, you're not going to win. So, like Snit said, and I agree with him, whoever we had going out on the mound last night is not who we had going out on the mound. We have to score runs in order to win a game. We didn't do that. We didn't win. After A.J. Smith-Shawver gave up that 2-run home run, he did a great job of limiting the damage. It was just 2-0 at the time. The sac fly made it 3-0. That's it. He did a very great job after that 2-run homer, kind of settling down and limiting the damage. The bullpen pitched great. They didn't give up any runs except for that 8th inning home run that Luke Jackson gave up. Bottom line is, doesn't matter who's starting. You have to score runs to win at anything. Just like in bowling, I have to score 190 to 200 to get my average. If I don't do that, then I didn't do a good job. You have to score and get what you need to get to win a game. And anything that you do, you got to score. We didn't score. Game 2, I'm confident in what Max Fried is going to give us. But if we don't score, we're going to be coming back home. And our season's going to be over with. Game 2s are today. So I will probably be back on tomorrow. And it's not probably, I will be back on tomorrow for the Game 2s. Either Detroit advances or Astros force Game 3. Either Kansas City advances or Baltimore forces Game 3. Either the Mets advance or the Brewers force Game 3. Either we come back and force Game 3 or the Padres win the series. That's all I have for you guys today. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. We out of here.